Eu acidentalmente deixei meu telefone cair no chão.
I accidentally dropped my phone on the floor. I accidentally dropped my phone on the floor.
Por favor, não deixe o vidro cair, ele é frágil.
Please don't drop the glass. It's fragile. Please don't drop the glass. It's fragile.
Ela deixou a bolsa cair perto da porta.
She dropped her bag by the door. She dropped her bag by the door.
A temperatura caiu repentinamente ontem à noite.
The temperature dropped suddenly last night. The temperature dropped suddenly last night.
Ele deixou as chaves na mesa.
He dropped the keys on the table. He dropped the keys on the table.
Eles desistiram da corrida após a lesão.
They dropped out of the race after the injury. They dropped out of the race after the injury.
Precisamos deixar esse assunto de lado e seguir em frente.
We need to drop this topic and move on. We need to drop this topic and move on.
Você pode me deixar na estação?
Can you drop me off at the station? Can you drop me off at the station?
Ela deixou seus planos de viajar neste fim de semana.
She dropped her plans to travel this weekend. She dropped her plans to travel this weekend.
Não deixe a bola cair durante o jogo.
Don't drop the ball during the game. Don't drop the ball during the game.
A chuva começou a cair levemente.
The rain began to drop lightly. The rain began to drop lightly.
Ele deixou uma moeda cair na fonte.
He dropped a coin into the fountain. He dropped a coin into the fountain.
Ela deu uma dica sobre sua festa de aniversário.
She dropped a hint about her birthday party. She dropped a hint about her birthday party.
Eles retiraram as acusações contra ele.
They dropped the charges against him. They dropped the charges against him.
Eu deixei minha caneta cair e não consegui encontrá-la.
I dropped my pen and couldn't find it. I dropped my pen and couldn't find it.
O time caiu para o segundo lugar depois de perder.
The team dropped to second place after losing. The team dropped to second place after losing.
Você pode passar no meu escritório mais tarde.
Can you drop by my office later? Can you drop by my office later?
Ela deixou o livro cair quando viu a aranha.
She dropped the book when she saw the spider. She dropped the book when she saw the spider.
Ele deixou a mochila cair no chão com um baque.
He dropped his backpack on the floor with a thud. He dropped his backpack on the floor with a thud.
Os preços das ações caíram drasticamente esta manhã.
The stock prices dropped sharply this morning. The stock prices dropped sharply this morning.
Por favor, deixe suas sugestões na caixa.
Please drop your suggestions in the box. Please drop your suggestions in the box.
Eles retiraram suas objeções após ouvir a explicação.
They dropped their objections after hearing the explanation. They dropped their objections after hearing the explanation.
O gato deixou cair o brinquedo e saiu correndo.
The cat dropped the toy and ran away. The cat dropped the toy and ran away.
Preciso deixar este pacote no correio.
I need to drop off this package at the post office. I need to drop off this package at the post office.
Ela deixou cair sua xícara de café, e ela se quebrou.
She dropped her coffee cup, and it shattered. She dropped her coffee cup, and it shattered.
Não, deixe sua energia cair durante a apresentação.
Don't let your energy drop during the presentation. Don't let your energy drop during the presentation.
Ele baixou a voz para um sussurro.
He dropped his voice to a whisper. He dropped his voice to a whisper.
Eles fizeram um grande anúncio na reunião.
They dropped a huge announcement at the meeting. They dropped a huge announcement at the meeting.
A temperatura deve cair ainda mais hoje à noite.
The temperature is expected to drop further tonight. The temperature is expected to drop further tonight.
Você pode passar na loja e comprar um pouco de leite?
Can you drop by the store and get some milk? Can you drop by the store and get some milk?
Ela deixou suas preocupações de lado e decidiu relaxar.
She dropped her worries and decided to relax. She dropped her worries and decided to relax.
A bola caiu na rede para um gol perfeito.
The ball dropped into the net for a perfect goal. The ball dropped into the net for a perfect goal.
Ele deixou de lado o assunto para evitar uma discussão.
He dropped the subject to avoid an argument. He dropped the subject to avoid an argument.
Eles baixaram a cortina para revelar o palco.
They dropped the curtain to reveal the stage. They dropped the curtain to reveal the stage.
As folhas começaram a cair das árvores no outono.
The leaves began to drop from the trees in autumn. The leaves began to drop from the trees in autumn.
Ela deixou cair seu guarda-chuva na poça.
She dropped her umbrella in the puddle. She dropped her umbrella in the puddle.
Ele deixou cair uma caixa pesada em seu pé.
He dropped a heavy box on his foot. He dropped a heavy box on his foot.
O cantor lançou um novo álbum na semana passada.
The singer dropped a new album last week. The singer dropped a new album last week.
Por favor, não deixe cair os pratos. Eles são caros.
Please don't drop the dishes. They're expensive. Please don't drop the dishes. They're expensive.
Deixei cair minha carteira enquanto corria para o ônibus.
I dropped my wallet while running for the bus. I dropped my wallet while running for the bus.
A empresa deixou seu logotipo antigo para um design moderno.
The company dropped its old logo for a modern design. The company dropped its old logo for a modern design.
Ela mandou uma mensagem rápida para sua amiga antes de sair.
She dropped her friend a quick text before leaving. She dropped her friend a quick text before leaving.
Ele largou a faculdade para começar seu negócio.
He dropped out of college to start his business. He dropped out of college to start his business.
Eles largaram suas armas e se renderam.
They dropped their weapons and surrendered. They dropped their weapons and surrendered.
A bola caiu de suas mãos no último momento.
The ball dropped out of his hands at the last moment. The ball dropped out of his hands at the last moment.
Ela deixou cair algumas gotas de óleo na panela.
She dropped a few drops of oil into the pan. She dropped a few drops of oil into the pan.
Ele fez uma piada que fez todo mundo rir.
He dropped a joke that made everyone laugh. He dropped a joke that made everyone laugh.
O avião caiu rapidamente durante a turbulência.
The plane dropped altitude quickly during turbulence. The plane dropped altitude quickly during turbulence.
Você pode deixar as crianças na escola?
Can you drop off the kids at school? Can you drop off the kids at school?
Ela deixou tudo para ajudar a amiga.
She dropped everything to help her friend. She dropped everything to help her friend.
Ele deixou cair o casaco na cadeira.
He dropped his coat on the chair. He dropped his coat on the chair.
O vaso caiu e quebrou em pedaços.
The vase dropped and broke into pieces. The vase dropped and broke into pieces.
Eles abandonaram a ideia depois de enfrentar oposição.
They dropped the idea after facing opposition. They dropped the idea after facing opposition.
O pássaro deixou cair uma pena no chão.
The bird dropped a feather on the ground. The bird dropped a feather on the ground.
Por favor, deixe seu nome na folha de inscrição.
Please drop your name on the sign-up sheet. Please drop your name on the sign-up sheet.
Ela deixou cair o telefone na piscina por engano.
She dropped her phone in the pool by mistake. She dropped her phone in the pool by mistake.
Ele abaixou a cabeça de vergonha.
He dropped his head in shame. He dropped his head in shame.
O carteiro deixou cair um pacote na nossa porta.
The mailman dropped a package at our door. The mailman dropped a package at our door.
O filme deu dicas sobre a sequência.
The movie dropped hints about the sequel. The movie dropped hints about the sequel.
Eu deixei cair meu ingresso e outra pessoa o pegou.
I dropped my ticket and someone else picked it up. I dropped my ticket and someone else picked it up.
A chuva começou a cair forte à noite.
The rain started to drop heavily in the evening. The rain started to drop heavily in the evening.
Ela baixou a guarda e começou a confiar nele.
She dropped her guard and began to trust him. She dropped her guard and began to trust him.
Ele deixou cair uma moeda na máquina de venda automática.
He dropped a coin into the vending machine. He dropped a coin into the vending machine.
O sorvete caiu da mão da criança.
The ice cream cone dropped from the child's hand. The ice cream cone dropped from the child's hand.
Eles desistiram do processo depois de chegarem a um acordo.
They dropped the lawsuit after reaching an agreement. They dropped the lawsuit after reaching an agreement.
Você pode deixar esta carta na caixa de correio para mim?
Can you drop this letter in the mailbox for me? Can you drop this letter in the mailbox for me?
O preço da gasolina caiu significativamente na semana passada.
The price of gas dropped significantly last week. The price of gas dropped significantly last week.
Ela deixou cair uma lágrima enquanto lia a carta sincera.
She dropped a tear while reading the heartfelt letter. She dropped a tear while reading the heartfelt letter.
Ele deixou cair o controle remoto debaixo do sofá.
He dropped the remote control under the couch. He dropped the remote control under the couch.
Eles deixaram cair a bola durante uma jogada importante.
They dropped the ball during an important play. They dropped the ball during an important play.
O vento diminuiu, deixando o mar calmo.
The wind dropped, leaving the sea calm. The wind dropped, leaving the sea calm.
Ela perdeu sua inscrição na academia.
She dropped her membership at the gym. She dropped her membership at the gym.
Ele deixou cair sua bagagem no hotel.
He dropped his luggage at the hotel. He dropped his luggage at the hotel.
O alpinista deixou cair sua corda por acidente.
The climber dropped his rope by accident. The climber dropped his rope by accident.
O professor deu uma dica sobre as questões do teste.
The teacher dropped a hint about the test questions. The teacher dropped a hint about the test questions.
Você consegue deixar as crianças caírem no treino de futebol?
Can you drop the kids at soccer practice? Can you drop the kids at soccer practice?
Ela deixou cair seu copo de água, derramando-o em todos os lugares.
She dropped her glass of water, spilling it everywhere. She dropped her glass of water, spilling it everywhere.
Ele deixou cair a lanterna e ela quebrou.
He dropped the flashlight and it broke. He dropped the flashlight and it broke.
O pássaro deixou cair uma semente e uma planta cresceu a partir dela.
The bird dropped a seed and a plant grew from it. The bird dropped a seed and a plant grew from it.
O ator desistiu do filme devido a conflitos de agenda.
The actor dropped out of the movie due to scheduling conflicts. The actor dropped out of the movie due to scheduling conflicts.
Passei na padaria para pegar um pouco de pão fresco.
I dropped by the bakery to grab some fresh bread. I dropped by the bakery to grab some fresh bread.
A empresa deixou cair o suporte para o modelo mais antigo.
The company dropped support for the older model. The company dropped support for the older model.
Ela deixou cair a toalha no chão do banheiro.
She dropped the towel on the bathroom floor. She dropped the towel on the bathroom floor.
Ele deixou cair sua mala enquanto corria para pegar o trem.
He dropped his suitcase while running for the train. He dropped his suitcase while running for the train.
O time perdeu suas chances de ganhar após uma jogada ruim.
The team dropped their chances of winning after a bad play. The team dropped their chances of winning after a bad play.
O sol começou a se pôr abaixo do horizonte.
The sun began to drop below the horizon. The sun began to drop below the horizon.
Ela deixou cair um bilhete em sua mesa antes de sair.
She dropped a note on his desk before leaving. She dropped a note on his desk before leaving.
Ele deixou cair as chaves no carro e não conseguiu destrancá-lo.
He dropped his keys in the car and couldn't unlock it. He dropped his keys in the car and couldn't unlock it.
Eles baixaram os preços para atrair mais clientes.
They dropped their prices to attract more customers. They dropped their prices to attract more customers.
O balão caiu lentamente no chão.
The balloon dropped slowly to the ground. The balloon dropped slowly to the ground.
A professora deixou cair uma pista importante sobre a tarefa.
The teacher dropped an important clue about the assignment. The teacher dropped an important clue about the assignment.
Ela deixou cair a massa na assadeira.
She dropped the dough onto the baking sheet. She dropped the dough onto the baking sheet.
Ele deixou cair uma pedra no lago e observou as ondulações.
He dropped a stone into the lake and watched the ripples. He dropped a stone into the lake and watched the ripples.
Eles abandonaram o debate e concordaram em discordar.
They dropped the debate and agreed to disagree. They dropped the debate and agreed to disagree.
A neve começou a cair constantemente à tarde.
The snow began to drop steadily in the afternoon. The snow began to drop steadily in the afternoon.
Ela deixou cair o sanduíche e teve que fazer outro.
She dropped her sandwich and had to make another one. She dropped her sandwich and had to make another one.
Ele abandonou a maratona devido a uma lesão.
He dropped out of the marathon due to an injury. He dropped out of the marathon due to an injury.
Eles abandonaram o assunto quando o chefe entrou.
They dropped the subject when the boss walked in. They dropped the subject when the boss walked in.
As cortinas caíram, marcando o fim da apresentação.
The curtains dropped, marking the end of the performance. The curtains dropped, marking the end of the performance.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and stay tuned for the upcoming episodes to keep improving your English. And remember, listening, practice, and improve.